What's up, everybody? Finally, we're here at Big Bell Media to review Atlanta Season 3. We're jumping into Episode 4. Sorry, folks, I do not have reviews for the first 3 episodes. Things happen, but it's okay. We will talk about them, don't worry. But today, right now, we're going to talk about Episode 4, The Big Payback. Everybody knows that song, which I already knew this was going to be a funny episode. Folks, if you've never checked this out, I'm Najir, that's Terrell, and we're here to team up on our review of Atlanta. Now, I got to read the synopsis of this, and I'm only reading the synopsis because you all need to see how funny these are. And if you've never checked out Atlanta, and this is, if you have been a long-time Atlanta fan, most of the time you just watch it. You don't even read the synopsis. You just kind of just get into the show. But I have to tell you, just because in the fashion of how we get it, we see the synopsis right in our face, and I figure I should just let y'all know that, this man Donald Glover is a fool. But this episode synopsis says, I was legit scared watching this. That's it. That's it. So crazy episode, a lot of fun. And even with all the funs and how unconventional these episodes could be, they actually pull from legitimate source material stories or moments in history. So while there may be fun and games to it, there's a very bittersweet, surreal moment to all of these, especially that first episode. Man, I gotta tell you,
that was
crazy. And it's funny because I had knew about that case before I seen that episode. So when I started to see the episode kind of get deeper and deeper to it, I was like, this what we doing, you know what I mean? And obviously it's a little bit of its own twist to Atlanta, but should be noted that in each of these episodes it's perfectly acceptable and probably should be promoted to think deeper than the content that you're just watching. There's always bigger messages in all these episodes. Right. They kind of feel like anthologies and whatnot, sort of to an extent, but overall it's because these episodes are thought-provoking and conversation starters. So with that being said, I'm gonna stop talking. Last thing I'm gonna say is familiar face as the lead of this episode. May have seen this guy before, right? Hi, I know everybody's probably scratching their chins like, I know I've seen this white man before. You certainly have. Justin Bartha, Hangover, National Treasure, and recently Godfather of Harlem. He does a fantastic job as your lead here. He plays Marshall something. I forget it, whatever his last name was. Marshall Johnson. And
Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson started out his day with it what seemed to probably be just a regular day. I mean, he's going through a divorce. He picks up his daughter, dropping her off at school, gets to his job, and things start to get very weird. So, Terrell, man, I know I was talking a lot, but it was a lot to take in this episode, man. What's just your overall thoughts, reactions, funniest moments? What you got for me?
Just on this episode, or just
this episode, yeah.
The tone was weird, and like you said, when this show originally started off, a lot of people thought this was just going to be a comedy, straightforward. But they have these episodes that deviate from the main story around her and everybody else. And this is one of those episodes, like you said, like episode 1 and this one, that has you put on your thinking cap. And this is almost kind of an alternate reality to a certain extent. Like you said, it still exists in their kind of their world because this weird stuff happens around them. But it had a real creep tone because you didn't know what was going on. Of course, I seen the title. I kind of figured that's where it was going. But I was not expecting them to go all in the reality of how they were going to do it in this episode. Done very well, done very tastefully, without being ridiculous. I could really see this happening. That's how scary this episode is. You could really see this happening, and I was kind of like, this ain't that bad. I want you to feel bad for the character, but I'm like, it's not that bad.
And whatever side of the fence you are on this,
right.
We're black, so it seems to be almost uncertain. No, I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm getting all my words confused. It almost seems like a certainty of what side we would be on. But I will say, upon watching this, in the beginning of it, I'm like, you damn right, it's about time. And then this process of like, Dad, I'm a little sympathetic for him, a little empathetic for him, shall I add? But ultimately, regardless of whatever side of the fence you're on, I think once he has that conversation with that other white gentleman at the hotel, that's when you really sat back and you said, yo, this right here is I guess it's the purest definition of what karma, or what goes around comes around. You know what I mean? It didn't look exactly as brutal as our history shows, but the ramification of the history and how typically parts of history can repeat itself, and some of it actually probably needs a little bit of reparations. In fact, but it was just the way how they modernized it to make sense for what's happening right now in society. And like you say, it's kind of scary because you're like, yo, this actually could work.
Right. But like I said, they give you from the perspective, like you said, they want you to feel sympathy. They want you to be empathetic of the character. Like, this is how white people think, to a certain extent. I don't feel like I should be responsible for any of that because it had nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? And they try to ignore and bury what happened. And this is a situation like where you can't run away from your past. It happened.
Yes, sir.
It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? Like, so like, hey, we get what you're going through, but look, this is what happened, bro. I'm gonna need that check.
Yeah. And
what you got? This mine now. What's up?
Yeah. run that dollar, bro. Like that's what it is. And it all started with the Tesla trial and of the black man that sued Josh Becker, an early investor in Tesla, due to the fact that his ancestors was enslaved by the relatives of Mr. Becker. So based on the calculations and obviously just bottom line truth, human capital and profit is all linked to the success and the finances within the company. So it was kind of funny hearing the radio narrative as to like, yo, this might work. Like, no, it is working and it will work. And thus, this case really sent a shockwave of folks saying, shit, I'm suing for the same thing. And everybody out here is collecting the check. Black people are getting reparations here, and it is a good time. You see folks at the gas station with their Lambos.
Yeah,
I mean, however it may be, some people want. It's kind of silly to say, but like, we're not gonna say humiliation, but we're gonna say like, yo, you treated us like this, we're gonna do you the same. And then now you got folks. The white folks hitting their 23andMe and their Ancestry.com trying to swarm their way out of it.
Trying to see how white they actually are. You know what I mean? I thought that was funny. Like, I'm Jewish. I'm cool. You know what I mean? I'm Polish. I'm good. Now you white. I can't associate with you no more. That's funny. Now that's why I said I really think I see that happening. Like, white people, like, let's see how white we are. Let's look, because I don't want to be linked. And in a time of social media where one bad tweet or a bad image of your family or something you did can ruin your whole life, in minutes. You know what I mean? It's definitely, like I said, I could definitely see this happening. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like he Marshall tried to say, well, I'm Austro-Hungarian, so we were in slavery years ago. It's like, yeah, that's over, bro. Like, nah. But what's funny to that is that it's funny to the idea that of history and current society, white people don't try to give up their white privilege.
No.
So the fact you start talking about money and lawsuits and tangibles, it's like, oh shit, I don't need to be that white. I could be a little bit less whiter, So let me actually kind of see where I'm at. She's like, homegirl at the office, like, I'm Jewish. Yeah, I know what it is. So so I'm good. And that was funny because the whole narrative was like, yo, everybody's checking their ancestry right now. Like, you need to get this done, bro. Like, things are getting good. He's like, and you know what else is funny about the context of it is in pure white privilege. He's just like, not bothering me. No smoke in my area. Nothing to worry about. It's the same mentality right now. Like, if it's not affecting me personally, then I don't care about it. You know what I mean? And that's why it's sort of the narrative that society doesn't change unless we're making a change. Other than that, if it doesn't affect them, they don't care. And let's be clear, because that sounds like a tricky statement here. We want change because we want better. So therefore, that threatens change, and then that's when they say something about it to prevent any change from happening. But in this case, it's like, well, I don't see nothing happening here with my status, my privilege. I have nothing to worry about. Little does he know.
It just so happens to be a character like a white man that has already losing a lot of what he considers his world. You know what I mean? His daughter, his divorce is going through. You know what I mean? And this is just one thing else. But like, you know, when he talks to E in the episode, he's like, "Look, man, we gonna be all right. Like, we gonna be all right." You know what I mean? Like, you know, this is not the worst thing that can happen to you. You know, worst thing you can do is just go ahead and give her, you know, try to make them payments, make the payments, and everything gonna be all right. Which they do establish that they're able to make payments on that check, which I think is hilarious. and the percentage they can choose to do
restitution taxes. Yeah.
Right.
So how much you taking out? 15%. He's like, oh, all right. Well, guys,
she want her $3 million. She wanted $3 million.
Listen, he said it ain't coming out the tip, so we good. But listen, Shanique, what was it? Shaniqua, right? Yeah, Shaniqua, bro. First of all, at the cookout, they out here playing Keith Sweat. I thought I was dying, bro. I was like, come on now.
Just stole the house. Like, yeah. You need to go back for the furniture. I'm like, oh, man.
Hey, there he go right there. They ran out there. It was funny. But yeah, Shaniqua said, look, and funny thing, Shaniqua's last name is Johnson. So that's why it was easy for her to say, like,
yeah, that meant, yeah.
Yeah. She went on the live. She said, yeah, I'm about to be living good on here. He got served and then he got it right away from her. But yeah, the Shaniqua character was a lot of the reflection as to what we were thinking. Like, oh, so you mean to mean that I'm finally getting my reparations here? Fine. Then I'm about to take all this shit. All this shit is mine. I want the house. She was saying, homeboy gonna have a nice room right there. She said, don't slam my door. I died. Do not slam my door. But it was funny. I also thought it was kind of interesting too when his daughter in the car ride asked for, are we racist? And he didn't quite have an answer for it. He's like, oh, that's just black people. I probably shouldn't say that. And he's like, well, we do got. He was like, but I pay him.
He's working for me. He's on lawn care.
Yeah, exactly. So
let me ask you a question. Wouldn't that affect her daughter too? Like, because that is her father, and her father's, you know, whatever. So how does she avoid that?
She's mixed.
Get out of here.
If she's mixed, that's the thing.
Nobody's pure blood anything. You can't listen, get up, just come on. You can't do
listen.
That.
The DNA percentages out here are making and breaking homes right now. So listen, you just got to figure out what's going to happen. And I mean, that's just what it was, folks. If you are more,
and as he says, he's like, you were white yesterday. What's up? What's up? What's going on,
man? So, listen, they're giving up that privilege, man. That was the biggest L that he took. I mean, but like I hate to say, he kind of did it with pride. He was like, all right, well, I guess it's got to be what it is. He left his big corporate job. Yeah, and he said, I'm going to hit the restaurants. And I mean, that right there, that symmetry right there was kind of like, damn. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you take people's fathers, you take people's kids, and then you kind of leave them with scraps and right. Their whole life, they're just working and working. When I'm saying they, I mean we, to actually get someplace. And that's why we're working at jobs like restaurants and stuff like that. Like, yo, the truth in this is crazy. It's crazy.
This gonna be a conversation piece for a minute, I think, for a while. Like, you know, every one of these Atlanta episodes always has something that they kind of sprinkle on, but like this is gonna be a conversation for a while. Like, man, we should really do this. Like,
yeah.
Come on, Donald, you just started something out here. We about to get paid.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, I mean, like, in case you don't know, like looking up Tesla right now and their employers are basically talking about the working conditions and other bit of conduct mix issues and all sorts of other allegations. It's just right on par. And I mean, this had to have been filmed earlier this year. This stuff is relevant right now.
Yeah.
Right now. They didn't film this today. They didn't film it last week. And the Tesla stuff is relevant right now, which is like, makes you even more like the hairs in your arms kind of rise. Cause you're just like, yo, like, could you imagine like $1 billion lawsuit and that's how lawsuits work. Once one lawsuit succeeds, then that becomes like the martyr for other smaller lawsuits. So that's why it's like, yo, if this executive got hit, everybody can get got. And that's all it takes. I'm sorry. somebody has a strong message here that they're trying to tell folks out here, and folks meaning us, and us meaning us in society as Black folks. We keep our eyes stay woke, shall I say?
the only reason this really has not become a reality, and I'm not trying to get political or nothing, but is that they are going to protect their own by any means necessary. They would never allow this to actually happen, where they would, have us collect on, an individual, especially anybody rich, because if that's the case, everybody out here getting got.
Listen,
but I mean, we out here making change. We just got, Black women in the Supreme Court. You know what I mean? So, that's their worst fear. So once we start making big change like that, maybe we'll get these checks. Maybe my grandkids get some checks. I don't know.
But listen, that's the point I was making earlier, is that like best know, like much like Marshall in this. Marshall's like, oh, it's not affecting me, so I'm not worried about it. His whole tone changed once it started to hit home. And
he was ducking them calls.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And he was like, yo, did you get your results? So, like, he was very much in tune then. And I think it's the same thing. Once a change happens, and anything that we try to do to collectively make change, the threat then was get them to say, oh, stop, block it, whatever you got to do. Right. Other than that, they don't care. They don't care. They're not invested into change. And when I say change, let me just use the proper word here. As we look for equality, they don't want that. Right. And the moment we make a step towards equality, the moment they say like, oh, no way.
They absolutely not. In the books. They
absolutely not.
Don't teach it to the kids. During this month, like this never happened. Get rid of that from the pages. Like it's wild. What was it? A critical race theory. They like, nah, that ain't happening. Like can't talk about that. So you tell how big of a threat this actually is. And this like I said, this episode is just a bigger conversation. How big of a threat this actually is to show this, and how this potentially could happen, and how threatened they are by the situation. Like especially as we become more and more and get into positions of power. So it's your turn, baby. Let it happen.
Yeah.
Don't cry down.
That's just sure, folks. Just to be clear, we checked out the first 4, but the previous 3 episodes, shall I say? So we're here now. We're here to cover this whole season. So more Atlanta reviews, conversations, recaps, all sorts of different things. However you want to classify, we're here to talk some Atlanta after each episode airs or premieres, or whatever it may be. So like, I don't want to say review, because sometimes the episode like this isn't deemed to be reviewed. We need to go down every event that happened. Some of these episodes are thought-provoking, so we're going to give our thoughts. So we're going to call it a reaction, a recap, whatever it may be. We're just here to talk Atlanta. We want to know your thoughts also about this episode. Jump in the comments below, and you know what to do each and every week. But until next Thursday, folks, thank y'all for tuning in. Now, Terrell and I will see you next week.
See you.